Good morning. Welcome to a better world with Julann and Fran. I'm Julann.
And I'm Fran, and our guest today is Stefanie Holton. Welcome, Stefanie.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And what is it that you're doing to make the world a better place?
Well, I've recently been attending HMI for hypnosis. Um, I'm still in school for that, but just trying to provide people with a better way to handle burnout and overwhelm and stress and trauma and all of the things that um, I think we take for granted when we're younger, the ability to just throw ourselves into a situation and deal with it. And then as we get older, those things become harder and harder to deal with. So, speaking from personal experience, so that's really what drove me to look into it and jump on.
Nice.
That's excellent. Yes. So your personal experience inspired you to go to the Hypnosis Motivation Institute.
hmm
Would you like to talk a little bit about what your personal experience was?
Um, Raised in a really legalistic church. Um, there's a blessing and a curse in that. It provided us with a strong value system. But when you're, growing up and you realize some things about the world, it's like sort of like a shell shock. My parents split when I was young. My mom moved us away. We moved a lot. So the sort of instability of that, and then an alcoholic, more narcissistic father. My mom was totally dysregulated in her own emotions. So it just kind of left us to, you know, figure things out and go with the flow, and created sort of people pleasers and, choosing our own um, unhealthy partners because we didn't have good examples or know what to choose in a partner. Those sort of things, having to find out the hard way, losing my mom at 26. Um, all of those things kind of, affect you. So,
Absolutely. You mean you were 26 when your mom died?
sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm
Yeah.
sorry for that. My
Yeah.
sincerest condolences.
Thank you.
Um, So, so your experience guided you to become somebody that you needed that maybe you didn't have
Yes.
when you were
Yes.
experiencing that. Well, that is the most beautiful gift I believe that you can give to, anyone. That's really beautiful. And thank you for doing that. Um,
Really.
did you get your own kind of therapy, or did going to HMI teach you more about yourself and help you to be sort of your own therapist?
Gosh, HMI has been such a wild ride.
It
Whew.
is.
Um, and it's one of those things where, you know, I don't know. I think at least for me, I just took things for granted when I was younger. But, realizing that, I think for me, the biggest sort of epiphany was knowing that I've really, from age 5 on, been living in fight or flight and hitting a wall of like, I can't do this anymore. Um, so yeah, I've done talk therapy for years and years. And there's beauty in that, but there's also, I just didn't feel much help with it, many answers. You're sort of going in every week, rehashing, you have an hour and you just get to like the juicy part, and then it's like, oh, yep, time's up. And it just didn't really do it for me. And then, um, yeah, so, and I think, you know, it's sort of that discomfort of homeostasis, right? Where you're used to functioning in that chaotic environment for so long that when I hit HMI, it was almost like a resistance. Like it was really hard for me to embrace that at first. Um, and even now, like I realize when I'm um, dysregulated and when I need to really like check in, or I'm just on autopilot, it's still it's like it is a muscle that we have to use to keep. But yeah, just having such a gift in, mentor sessions and being able to, you feel a little bit of a relief. So it's been good. I don't know if that was an answer to your question, but
It
That
was
was,
an answer. And the nice thing is now what you said was now you realize it. You know what I mean? Like you know when you get to
yeah,
that certain part and you can help yourself. You know what I mean? To
yeah,
change and that's the thing that I think we all need help with because we let sometimes the chaos and all that and we just continue to uh, exist. And
hmm,
even I didn't go to HMI. I'm not a hypnotherapist. A grandma. And even watching all of the kids, if it's chaotic or you get to know from meditating and, doing all the things that I do, I sense a change or I'll know when it's coming and I can breathe and relax
yeah,
and I'm able to redirect the situation. You know what I mean? And I think
hmm,
that's what we have perceptions and we think we have a to-do list and we think this is how it's got to be and we got to get up in the morning we got to do all these things and we're not present and by
no,
realizing you're helping people to take a breath and to realize that there's a better way to do it, so thank you for that.
yeah. I think that um, something you said just sparked this thought, but um, the biggest gift for me, and I still get emotional when I talk about it, is um, being a single mom and bearing that weight and raising my kids, but missing it because I was so in my head, or I was so worried about this, or I was thinking about that, or and you look back and you're like, wow, I remember that, but I don't remember that. And I think that's the greatest gift now, where my kids are actually still getting used to it. And they're like, Mom, did you like? They just, I could never multitask before. I would get sort of, it was like one track. Like they would be talking to me, and I'd be in my phone trying to schedule an appointment or something, and now I can sort of like I can still hear them and take it in, finish what I'm doing, and say, oh, so that's what happened at school today, or oh yeah, like whatever it was, just sort of in my daughter still, she's 16, she's still sort of like, oh, you did hear me,
oh,
like, yeah. So just the gift of being able to be present. I raised my son and I are so much alike, but also boys are completely different than girls, and I'm realizing that now. And instead of me being overstimulated, not knowing how to handle his hyperactivity and his lack of focus and his, just being a boy. I'm like, Peyton, stop, Peyton, sit down, Peyton, I was always like sort of bitching at him, and sort of trying to like apologizing, taking accountability for not knowing how to show up for him, but sort of like healing what I can now, and because he's 23. Um, but yeah, it's been such a gift to be able to just be
Present.
present and to know when I'm not being present.
Right, but another thing you said
Yeah,
that's
like you
great,
said.
to apologize, to say, hey, listen,
Hmm.
and I have three grown children who have children. And as much as I want to help them and do things, I don't want to overhelp them. But
Yeah.
I just think that to admit that we don't always get it right. It's okay to say, hey, listen, we're doing our best. We're trying. You know what I mean? I'm trying. And maybe I didn't get it all, I'll always get it right, but I'm trying every day to be better. And I
Yeah.
think that's a gift too. You said that. Hey, look, I'm trying, I'm learning too. That's great too. So good for you. You're doing a great job. I can't imagine what it's like to do that alone, to raise children alone. Like my kids are lucky because they have me, but we don't have other sides of the family. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So I'm
Hmm.
the only one, of my husband and I. That's hard. It's
Yeah.
it's tough and you should be so proud.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Be very proud of yourself. You've done a wonderful job. I had a very similar experience with talk therapy. For probably 2 decades, I went to, I don't even know how many different talk therapists, and I never felt any kind of advance. It was always
Yeah.
you just go in there and you fetch.
Right.
And when I went to HMI, I realized that you can actually heal from child. I didn't even realize that it had a somewhat traumatic childhood. I realized that the school I attended was abusive, but I didn't realize that there was also abuse at home. And
Yeah.
coming to that realization was very helpful. Now, you mentioned the word homeostasis, and in case our listeners don't know what that means, would you explain what that is, please?
So homeostasis in the sense of what we're used to, our normal, quote unquote, whatever normal is, the way that we're used to being,
Living. Right.
yeah, existing. Um, it's yeah, and I think that's at first I didn't know if the hypnosis was working. Like and then I would have like my sessions with, I had Lenora. I don't know if you had any experience with her, but um, I needed someone familiar with, CPTSD and like sort of trauma. And I just gravitated towards her. But I remember saying, I don't know if this is working because it was I think that's the beauty of hypnosis is that's why change is so hard because diets are so hard. Losing, like,
Right.
it shifts so quickly. And we're creatures of habit, and we're also creatures of like we're wires for survival. So whatever is deemed a threat is what we're gonna be zoned in on. So it's like
Right.
it's so gradual though that I just started noticing like reacting different or um listening different or like we said, showing up
Right.
differently or um yeah, just like really just having so much up here that I couldn't even see straight, and
Right.
yeah, just and I think
And that's
being in my 40s too, the hormone ride has been whew. I say to my mom all the time, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize, like
me
I
too.
was
I
such an
lost my mom
ass.
too.
Ugh, I just gave her such a hard time and I thought I had it all figured out, which I think, we all do to some degree, but I just think I'm so sorry. I had no idea.
It's true. It's true. We do say that. I don't know how you didn't. If I didn't say thank you enough, you know,
Yeah.
uh, thank you.
Do you find that you attract a particular type of client?
Um, yes. I'm an esthetician, and I've done that for 10 years. So I have my clients, my existing clients, and I guess that's why I was sort of drawn to the therapy realm because they come in and talk for an hour, you know. Um, and we built this trust and rapport. So I would say I would say now, I would say that it's changed definitely over the last 10 years, but I would say now it's like middle age and up. Um, we all sort of have similar past or experiences. Um, or seeing myself, I have one 90-year-old client and I started making house visits for her and hearing about relationships. She's outlived two husbands and
Oh,
she has an estranged local daughter and her son's doing what he can from Ohio. And I'm in upstate New York. So it's just you know, seeing that loneliness um, in sort of everybody and trying to just like, grin and bear it. Um, so yeah, it's a really long-winded way to answer your question, but
but do you find that they're mostly female?
oh yeah, yeah,
Because men don't do anything wrong. No, just kidding. But isn't it so nice that you're fixing the inside and the outside?
Yeah.
You're helping people be beautiful everywhere. That's a great
yeah,
thing. So,
yeah. I really, it's interesting. I chose aesthetics as a backup for nursing. Um, because when you're, you know, I just get a lot I've always gotten my self-worth and my joy from caring for others, right?
Mm.
Being raised in that. And then,
Yeah.
um, but the great part of that now is being able to set boundaries, whereas before it was like this endless, like, and once the people pleaser stops, it's like, oh yeah, I want to tell you the truth about everything. And you have to kind of like like rein it in, Steph, rein it in. Um, but yeah, it's changed from, outward beauty and being, this the perfect image of whatever, to now it's more, yeah, definitely more inner
Yeah.
for sure.
And the inner affects the outer.
Yes.
The more healed you are inside, the more beautiful you are outside.
And the more
And
comfortable you are.
and
Yes.
the better life is because you can enjoy,
Yeah.
even I say to Fran all the time, embrace the suck. You know, no matter what's going on, you can find, you know, I have a brother who's by himself and he's got, he's angry. And I told him, you know, you can't you don't want to be a grumpy old man. You're missing out on so much. You can find one little joy. You have a really nice car. Start there. You know what I mean? Like find a joy and go from
Yeah.
there. Because yeah, life sometimes is crappy and things happen that, he definitely needs to talk to somebody, but of course he won't. We're Irish Catholic. We barely even talk to each other. You know what I mean? So we're not going to talk to anybody else, but yeah, so it's
I
nice that you're
I think that, and I don't know with you, Fran, but with being busy and I'm working multiple jobs right now, so it's been a little, I just find myself like crashing into bed. Um, but it's so, even with the hypnosis, I have to catch myself with, like you said, gratitude, because we're so wired for survival and the threats and anything negative. It's like we just, at least for me, I hone in on the negative and catastrophize. I can never remember
It's
we
which
get
one.
it. We know what you
catastrophize,
mean.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the same. So I have to really, force myself to remember what I'm grateful for, even if it's simple stuff like
Right.
coffee to drink, a roof over my head, my whatever it is, because no day is as bad as it could be. Um, and I think, for your brother, it's almost like probably a safety, it's safe keeping everyone away,
Yes.
by being
Yes.
angry and being grumpy all the time. He doesn't have to get close to anyone.
Yeah, but we chip it away every time he comes. So
Good.
we're
Keep
Oh, good.
chipping.
relentless. We're relentless.
Oh, good, good, good. Yes, no, the more you practice gratitude, the more you attract things for which to be grateful.
Right. Uh-oh.
I think she froze.
Oh yeah, I thought I'm at my son's house in Garrison, New York.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, we live
Oh,
in
there she
Rockland
is.
County. We live
Uh,
in Rockland County, but we're watching the baby. So I don't
Am I
know how.
back?
You're
Yes,
back.
Okay, good.
better
Okay.
than ever.
Uh, the more you practice gratitude, the more you attract things for which to be grateful. And when I teach my stress relief classes, I give people the homework of keeping a gratitude journal. You have to within the first half an hour of awakening in the morning, or just half an hour before you fall asleep, write down at least one thing for which you're grateful. And we're ambulatory. We can see. We have all our senses. We have people in our life. There are so many things for which to be grateful. But you're absolutely right, Stephanie, because when we first appeared on the planet and we hadn't yet invented weapons and we didn't know what shelter was and protection, and we walked the land with beasts who thought we looked like tasty little snacks, we had to focus on the negative.
Mm-hmm.
You had to like scan the horizon for the negative, and just expect it to come. And that has been passed down and perhaps even magnified, even though our lives are not as dangerous now as they once were. It's very natural to expect the negative, to look for the negative, to focus on the negative, all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. Um, Well, that's wonderful. And it really, as I think I mentioned last week with our last guest, thank you for doing the work that you're doing, especially with women, because women are the nurturers and the caregivers and the moms and the sisters and the
Yeah.
God bless men. But anytime I'm in the presence of women, I feel uplifted, I feel nourished, I feel better than I began. And like
Yeah.
a lot of times when you, not so much gay men, but when you're with hetero men, they suck it out of you.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
so thank you so much for being there for women who are often from a very young age encouraged to be givers
Yeah.
exclusively and
Yeah.
caregivers, not and we're not necessarily taught that you can't give from an empty cup.
Right.
So true.
So thank you very much for being very much a female-oriented business. Jewel, do you have any other questions?
Well, if there was one thing that you would want the audience to take away, I know there are so many, but if you could pick one thing that you think is important for people who are struggling or just start, what would it be?
Man, um, just struggling with life, you mean, or
Yeah,
anything?
just whatever their struggle is. You know what I mean? If people who are maybe not open to getting the help they need or are struggling every day, maybe they don't have any support system or, you know.
It might sound it might sound blunt, and I don't mean it this way, but I would say you aren't that special because in my lifetime, I've always felt like I was, I had the worst situation, or it's so easy to internalize that and think that you're this lone man on an island. And everyone is experiencing collectively different things.
Yeah.
Everybody's experienced some sort of loss. Everybody's experienced having their feelings hurt or being rejected. Everyone's experienced, there's just, at least for me, I always felt like, I was this unique experience, like no one
Right.
has ever felt this bad, or it goes back to the whole like catastrophizing thing. It's just trying to open up and connect. I've noticed like even if I don't feel like talking or connecting, just being with in the same room as another human makes you feel better. It just gets you out of your head and makes you more, aware of things around you.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's
I
great.
yeah, I used to date a guy who wrote a poem, or I guess it was a poem called "The Pain Makes You Special." And in a way, we tend to think I'm the only one who's carrying this. I'm the one with this burden. I am special. And it's really when I teach my stress relief classes, a lot of times people will argue for their limitations. And it's
Mm,
Yes,
true.
it's
It's
true.
true. They
Yeah.
won't want to abdicate because that's their identity in their subconscious mind.
yes.
That's who they
Well,
are.
and there's also there's a level of we've made it sort of, it's like the classic workaholic or the martyr. It's like I'm this great person because I put everyone before myself. It's like this glorified martyrdom of like what? Like at the end of the day, nobody cares if you
Right.
didn't go home. Nobody care, you know what I mean? Like it's like I don't know. I It's amazing to me that we as a society just glorify the um
Yeah.
Mediocrity.
that sort of mind frame, It's like
Yeah.
Yeah,
corporations can take hours and hours and hours of your time and just cut you loose, it
exactly.
on a whim. And it's not, the loyalty doesn't necessarily always work both ways, and then you're 45 or 65 or 95 realizing like, oh, where did my life go? you
Right. I
know
wish I would have went to that
yeah.
play. Right. That's why when I tried as My kids say it now. How did you do it? How did you work full time and come to every play and religion and do? Because I said to them, and I was told I worked for all men on Wall Street when I ran a gym. I was told, well, listen, I missed plays and things like that. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
And well, I'm not willing to do that. So here we are. You know,
Hmm.
I had to fight for every single thing because they didn't care.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it's good to know and to try to do the things because I guess you're afraid too, you know. People are
Yeah.
afraid to go to the to leave early and to take their vacation and do all this because they don't know what's going to happen.
Hmm.
Right. And you have to know that the way that you are allowing things is training other people how to treat you.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And a lot of times when people cling to this identity of the stressed person, they'll then complain about the way they're being treated. It's like, well, can you not see that you taught your
You allow
kids to
it,
treat you that way, you know?
right?
Hmm.
So so yes.
But again, these kind of things, hypnosis and these things that you guys are doing, they're helping people realize and learn. And that's a gift. It really is.
Well, thank you very much. And I've known Julann since I was about 14, since we were
Oh,
14.
I love
And
that.
yeah, and I was certain Julann was going to be a therapist because she absolutely can. Anytime she wanted to, she could be any kind of therapist. People will go to her, just automatic, like people in the grocery store
They do. They
want to
talk to
talk,
me a lot.
tell her things and say, I've never said this to anyone before, that kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just her personality. All
Well,
right. Stephanie, when people want to contact you, how do they do that?
Well, I have a booking site. I have I've incorporated my aesthetics into my hypnosis. So it's called the Inner Aesthetic.
Nice.
Um, yeah, I really struggled with that.
great.
Trying to, and I'm still figuring that part out, but it's coming. Um, but yeah, I have a booking site, and I have I have sessions, and I have my skincare and stuff all on the same thing. So
Okay. Well,
on
thank
Facebook,
you.
Instagram.
Oh, Facebook and Instagram too.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for being our guest and for sharing your experience and your therapy and all of that. Very interesting stuff here.
Thanks
Mm.
for having me.
It
It was
was
a
really nice to meet you.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Nice to
Yeah,
meet you too.
yes. And this has been another episode of A Better World with Julann and Fran. Please like and share this video and please subscribe to our station and please join us again in subsequent episodes. So long for now.